Right now on News 4, new names coming to light. Buffalo Bishop Richard Malone will announce the names of the priests who were accused of sexually abusing children, when those names will be released after a string of claims in Buffalo. And the ladies of the UB women's basketball team continue to dance their historic win against the Seminoles and who they'll face in the Sweet 16. And pumping the brakes on Grand Island, the truck stop proposal that neighbors are giving the red light. Why they're giving no love for loves.
Live in high definition, this is Western New York's news leader. Now, News 4 at 11.
And good evening, everyone. Developing tonight, a source confirms the names of the priests in the Buffalo diocese who are accused of sexually abusing children will be released.
We're told the bishop will hold a news conference tomorrow morning. This comes after another man has come forward with accusations of abuse against the Catholic Church. Several other people have made similar accusations over the past few weeks. Earlier this month, the diocese announced it is setting up a fund for people who claim they were sexually abused as children. Bishop Malone is expected to name all priests who retired, left, or were removed from the ministry after allegations of sexual abuse tomorrow morning. We'll be covering that news conference. We'll bring you full details on News 4 at noon. Our other top story tonight. The women of the UB women's basketball team make history, beating Florida State to move on to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament.
And if you just take a look behind us, you can see the women celebrating tonight. Certainly a lot of excitement there and a lot of excitement around town. And, of course, a lot of buzz in our studio right now because Nick Filipowski is here with more on their amazing win. Nick?
Yeah, well, let me just say, that celebration video, it's never going to get old watching that. You know, all season long, UB's motto has been reclaim and advance. And in the NCAA tournament, they are showing the entire country what Buffalo basketball is all about. Running over and through Florida State, the Bulls stampeding right through Tallahassee and into the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. The Seminoles, as a matter of fact, had never lost a second-round game on their home court. That streak, of course, came to an end rather quickly. First half, off the steal, one of 17 turnovers by FSU, bucket and the foul for Sierra Dillard. She finishes with 22. Second half, this is how you know history is on your side. Steph Reed, so crafty and so good. The bank shot finishes with 19 herself as the Bulls advance to their first ever Sweet 16, 86-65. There's another angle of that celebration video. The Bulls face South Carolina in the Sweet 16 in Albany on Saturday. We'll have more highlights of this historic win coming up a little later in sports. Nick Filipowski, News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Nick. On Grand Island, no love for loves. The town supervisor is taking new action to keep the Love's national chain from opening a truck stop and welcome center there.
It would go up along Whitehaven Road, just west of the 190. News 4's Rachel Monjovi is here to tell us how the town is stepping in to stop this. Rachel?
Don and Jackie, we first told you about this proposal for a truck stop last month. Dozens of residents spoke out about their concerns for the project. The company says it would create up to 60 jobs and generate millions of dollars in sales tax revenue. But the town's supervisor is trying to pass a law that he hopes will dismantle the project.
We beg the board to adopt this law. Grand Island is not the place for a truck stop.
A multi-billion-dollar truck stop chain wants to set up shop on 21 acres of land on Grand Island. About a month ago, News 4 reported public outcry against the $12 million proposed Love's Travel Shop and Country Store. Now Supervisor Nathan McMurray wants a law that would essentially ban the proposal from going through.
It would be impossible to build what they hinted that they were interested in building, which would be a giant full-scale travel stop. For all intents and purposes, it'll be dead.
The law would put a stop to any new travel plazas and truck stops on the island. Environmentalists say they need to protect the land for conservation.
To encourage ecotourism, to encourage trail systems, to encourage the protection of green space for the benefit of all of the islanders moving forward.
People living on the island say there are other places where a truck stop would be more fitting.
There's plenty of areas near Niagara Falls, Buffalo, that could accommodate a truck stop that are already concrete and cemented over, so why would we want to waste beautiful green space and make it into something that huge?
McMurray says although this law is intended to nix the Love's proposal, he fears the company will fight back.
They have great lawyers. They have great consultants that can jump through hoops and find ways around things. But I want them to know they are going to face a fierce opposition on Grand Island.
Supervisor McMurray says the town has 9 days until the board can vote on this law. He says every town board member is in favor of the law and expects it will pass. Reporting live, Rachel Monjovi, News 4 at 11.
And new at 11, the Attorney General and the State Education Commissioner are opening an investigation after the drowning death of Rochester teen Trayvon Rowe. The 14-year-old was found dead after being reported missing back on the 8th. Officials say Trayvon, who had autism, wandered off his school campus, even though the district says he was wrongly marked as present in class by 3 teachers. Now an investigation is being launched into what happened there in an effort to improve school safety.
Well, right now, Crime Stoppers is asking for your help to identify the person you see in these photos. Authorities say this man tried to rob a Boost Mobile store and an M&T Bank in Cheektowaga. A reward of up to $2,500 is now being offered for any information that leads to an arrest. If you have any details, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 867-6161. Let's turn now to the forewarned forecast. Here's a live look outside over downtown Buffalo from the tower cam. Look at that. A nice clear night so far, but after a few beautiful sunny days, it looks like the clouds may be moving in.
Our News 4 Chief Meteorologist Todd Santos has been keeping an eye on the forecast. He can tell us what's ahead. Todd?
Yeah, we're keeping a close eye on a disturbance that's mostly going to miss us to the south, and it's really tomorrow night into Wednesday. And we'll take a look at that, but at least some of the outer clouds are getting close, kind of the cirrus clouds on the outer edge of it. I want to start with this shot because we have had some fantastic moon pictures over the last couple of days. Kind of hard to top this one, but Neil got this shot out of Niagara Falls. Really creative. Now, to go with the clear skies, we do have some cool temperatures, and this was the expectation that we drop pretty quickly, at least to this point. I'll show you the model coming up, but I do expect to find a lot of numbers like what you see in East Aurora or down towards Java, that 19, especially, Colden right now is at 19, Ellicottville, Salamanca. I expect all these areas to get back into the at least upper teens. The lower teens will be a little bit trickier, but we will find at least some of those, especially interior portions of Cattaraugus County or even interior Wyoming County. But this is where we are right now. So you figure here it is 11:07 p.m. We still have a good stretch to go before we hit the early morning. So this model was a little bit slower to actually cool down, but it does take a lot of areas at least into the, say, mid-teens. You see the 16 in Warsaw. So don't be surprised to find some numbers as low as around, say, 10, 11, 12 degrees to start off the day tomorrow. Not so much for Buffalo, but in those interior valleys where you're away from all the breeze potential. Into tomorrow afternoon, I think we're good for daytime highs around, say, 34, even for the city. And you can see that 35 downtown towards Jamestown. Here's the outer edge of some of those clouds. The disturbance itself, though, as I mentioned, is really going to miss us mostly to the south. Our far southern counties, Potter and McKean, may have a slightly better chance late tomorrow of just barely getting clipped. So this one comes very close, and already right now it's very close for comfort. So we'll take a closer look at that piece in the model coming up. But bottom line, I don't expect to see any issues travel-wise or anything like that up towards Buffalo. Really, anybody north of the 86 corridor. South of it, tomorrow evening, we may find a window for some minor slushy snow coating. So we'll take a close look at that coming up, but at least for tomorrow morning, just cold temperatures. Other than that, it'll be a nice quiet start to your Tuesday, which is also the start of spring. Don, Jackie?
Uber today put the brakes on all road testing of its self-driving cars after a fatal accident. A pedestrian in Tempe, Arizona was killed last night by a self-driving Uber taxi.
It's believed to be the first fatality caused by an autonomous vehicle. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve is in Arizona.
The force of the fatal crash dented the front of the Uber self-driving SUV. It was in autonomous mode with only a safety driver on board. Tempe, Arizona police say 49-year-old Elaine Herzberg was walking a bicycle across a busy thoroughfare frequented by pedestrians Sunday night. She was not in a crosswalk.
Preliminary investigation showed that the vehicle was traveling at approximately 40 miles an hour. And our investigation did not show at this time that there were significant signs of the vehicle slowing down.
This is the first known fatal accident involving an autonomous vehicle. In a statement, Uber said, "Our hearts go out to the victim's family. We are fully cooperating with local authorities in their investigation of this incident." Last year, an estimated 40,100 people died in traffic accidents in the U.S. 94% of crashes are blamed on human error, and safety experts believe self-driving cars will significantly reduce those numbers, as autonomous vehicles are expected to make up 25% of the global auto market between 2035 and 2040. Companies from Alphabet to Intel to General Motors are banking on this industry taking off. While accidents involving self-driving cars have happened, they tend to be minor. This Arizona crash saw an autonomous Uber end up on its side after being hit by another driver. 32 cities in the U.S. are either running pilot programs or planning to start one. Dozens of companies are currently testing self-driving cars in Arizona.
The accident happened right back by that blue sign there. You can see it's a good distance from where the crosswalk is at that stoplight. Once the NTSB is on scene, they're going to have a host of questions, among them the role of that onboard safety driver who was supposed to step in if need be. Another question, could any vehicle have stopped to avoid the accident, and was everything working on board that autonomous vehicle the way it should have been? Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Tempe, Arizona.
And across the state, we now know when the funeral for the late New York Congresswoman Louise Slaughter will happen. The service will take place this Friday, March 23rd, at the Eastman Theater in Rochester. The 88-year-old died this past Friday after a fall at her home in Washington, D.C. Calling hours are scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday. The funeral service will start at 11 a.m. on Friday.
Actress Cynthia Nixon is officially putting her name in the ring for New York State governor. The former Sex and the City star announced the run in a tweet this afternoon. She'll take on incumbent Andrew Cuomo in a Democratic primary. If elected, she would be the first openly gay woman to hold that position. Well, new at 11, Governor Cuomo responds to calls for more investigation into the district attorney's handling of the Harvey Weinstein case. In particular, the handling of the sexual abuse case of model Ambra Battilana. The Time's Up organization released an open letter asking for an independent investigation of Sirens fans to determine why Weinstein was not prosecuted. According to a statement released by the governor's office, he has directed the attorney general to review the case from 2015 and will wait for the findings to determine whether further action is necessary.
And coming up, clearing out the flowers after more than 50 years in service, the Buffalo Flower Shop that's shutting its doors, and the positive impact they've made in our community.
Plus, delivering more than meals. See some of the familiar faces bringing more than meals to the clients of Meals on Wheels.